Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about limited time. And this is something that I was thinking about actually when I was, my office is still trying to force me to get back into returning to work. And even though I'm fighting it, I know that that's kind of a losing battle. But I was thinking about how I still got so much done in like the late 2010s where like I was in the office every day and I was spending, 8 hours a day in this room, and I could do some stuff from there, but most of the work that I did was still at home. And I feel that because I had such a limited time between me getting home from work and also me like making dinner and preparing for bed and all that other stuff, like I had that limited amount of time, and that forced me to utilize that time in a more efficient way. Whereas when I am working from home, I tend to just kind of mess around a lot more because I have so much time. I can do whatever I want. And then, oh no, the day's done and I didn't really do anything. And this is not me saying that returning into the office is going to be a good thing for me. I'm still really not looking forward to that part at all. But it does raise a good point that having a limited amount of time to work on something makes that time far more valuable than just having as much time as you want to do whatever you want with. And obviously this goes back to the 2-hour track challenge thing for me, where it's just like, I have 2 hours to make a song, so I've got to get to it. Where if I'm just working just for fun, like on a stream or whatever, I tend to be a lot more loosey-goosey, and I tend to get distracted either with conversations or with like little side things. And all of a sudden, it's been an hour and a half and I have like a 16-bar loop, and that's not efficient. And I'm not saying that everything you do has to be efficient. It's just usually that workflow, that process that you're trying to do relies a bit on efficiency if you're trying to actually make things and progress and like continue to move forward when you're working on stuff. So like having that scarcity of time is really valuable in that regard. And it's something that I really hadn't thought about before, but it makes a lot of sense because you want to utilize the time you have as best you can. And there's like the whole existential thing where it's like everybody has a limited amount of time, but it's really hard for our brains to parse that, where it's just like 70 to 100 years or whatever just feels like infinite time, and a week feels very limited, and it's easy to focus on the limited aspects of how to use your time rather than like, oh well, I've only got 50 more years to live, I better make the best with it. And it's like it's really hard to process that because our brains are not good at that kind of mental gymnastics. But giving yourself limited time, even the Pomodoro technique, where you're supposed to set a 15-minute timer and then just try to get your momentum and movement forward in that regard, I think is a really valuable technique that whenever I use it, it's very, very valuable for me, and I tend to get a lot done. But then I'm also like, why would I need to set a 15-minute timer? I don't have a time limit on this. And it's your brain basically tricking you, or at least me. I tend to procrastinate a lot, like I've talked in prior episodes, and it's very easy for me to push things off because I don't have a deadline like that. And as much as I hate like scheduling my whole life, I have done it in the past, and it did work pretty well. Where basically I was like, this hour, like between 8 and 9, I'm going to work on this. And between 10 and 11 or 9 and 10, I'm going to work on this. And like scheduling everything out like that is really hard to get into. But I think that it also offers a lot of freedoms because you can schedule time to do things that you love doing. It gives you the freedom to do stuff, but also it gives you the freedom to schedule the things that you want to do. Because even though if you have a whole day booked, it's booked with things that you really want to do or want to accomplish, and that's like super important. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to make this work for me. Like I said, I've tried doing this before and it just really does not work for me. But I think that there are ways around that, and I'm going to look into it more because I love working from home and I love the freedom that I have when I work from home, but also it does have the issue where I have all the free time that I really need because a lot of my work is passive. Like if somebody needs me, which is fairly frequently, but if somebody needs me, they reach out and then I help them and then I'm kind of back to where I was. Because I do have like projects, but a lot of them are really relying on other people and I'm helping coordinate all that. So with my work, like I have free time, and that doesn't mean that I'm like running around, but it gives me the opportunity to clean the house. Maybe I can like do some exercise over my lunch break and that kind of stuff where I can't do that at work, but it does create a disconnect, and that can be difficult to overcome. So having limited time is just really valuable, and it's something that I need to be more aware of. Yeah. I think I kind of covered the overview here. I don't know. Like I always look at the time and be like, oh, only 6 minutes. But I feel that I conveyed the idea that I wanted to convey. And, you know, I don't want to spend 20 minutes reiterating the same thing because I definitely have done that in the past and it's annoying. So anyway, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really genuinely do appreciate it. I hope that you have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Be remarkable.